Hi guys, I'm going to do something highly unusual for me and present you with an article from BuzzFeed by Ms. Zoe Tillman, posted September 14, 2017. A judge will not dismiss criminal charges against people arrested on Inauguration Day. Trials for the nearly 200 people charged with felony rioting and property destruction are scheduled to begin in November. Of course, we know that what they're talking about is Antifa, Black Lives Matter, BAM, feminists, all that ilk. But at least they mentioned people were arrested. I'm not going to read the whole article here. Let's see. Thursday denied requests to dismiss the criminal cases against nearly 200 people. The defendants raised a series of legal arguments with a battery of attorneys against the indictment, including that it lacks specificity and that the D.C. rioting laws fail to account for people who were arrested for engaging in political speech protected by the First Amendment. What the Ms. Tillman forgot is that burning limos, breaking windows, busting people up and everything is not protected by the First Amendment. It's not free speech. But hey, it is BuzzFeed. District of Columbia Superior Court Judge Lynn Leibowitz, who heard arguments in July, issued an order Thursday denying all the motions to dismiss. The defendants are set to be tried in groups at separate times, with the first trial date scheduled for late November. Other trials are scheduled throughout 2018. Numerous lawyers were involved in filing and arguing the motions to dismiss the indictments. It says down here, she agreed that the rioting law couldn't apply to activity that arose from political demonstrations. Well, it's well settled that persons who may intend political protest, but who become violent or who willfully incite violence or other conduct that creates a grave risk of injury to property and persons in the course of the protest, are not shielded from prosecution, the judge wrote. So in other words, she ain't buying that it's okay to beat people up and everything and burn people out in the exercising of free speech. Although rioting is defined under D.C. law might involve speech activity, that did not mean that the law was unconstitutional, the judge wrote. The sections of the rioting statute at issue were about whether a defendant knowingly aided or encouraged tumultuous and violent conduct that creates a grave danger to property or persons, the judge wrote. And they cited a court opinion that came about in 1969 after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King. None of these little Antifa pukes rose to that level. Leibowitz also denied a request from defendants that the government be required to turn over the instructions that it gave to the grand jury that returned the indictment. Wouldn't it be wonderful if all defendants could demand the instructions that were given to the grand jury that got them indicted? I mean, I'm sure they'd love to argue it all. Highly irregular, and I'm glad the judge didn't go for that. I just thought you guys might be interested in this little tidbit. You can go read the rest of it if you want to. I just kind of summarized parts of it. But I'm glad that somebody's going to start being held accountable. I have a theory that just as soon as they start prosecuting these Antifa members, BAM, BLM, all of them that are involved in beating people and macing people and throwing urine and feces on people and burning and breaking things, as soon as they start prosecuting them for their crimes, this will come to an end. Because George Soros ain't got enough money to pay people, these kids, to put themselves in prison for lengthy times. They're not that stupid. $15 an hour plus medical and dental benefits and stuff sounds pretty good to a lot of people, but it ain't worth years in prison over. So the more they prosecute and slam in jail, the first is going to have to be made examples of. But those examples will actually, in the long run, save a lot of people having their lives destroyed. I'm not cool with watching young kids get their whole lives destroyed by picking up felony charges and prosecutions. You know, that once you get a criminal record like that, a felony criminal record, you're done. You know, you've lost your Second Amendment. You know, it'll be harder to move forward in life, and society really never lets you get over it. It's there for life. It's worse than a big tattoo across your forehead. You might as well. I'm a felon. Reject me. And I don't want to see this, but if it saves lives and saves property and puts a stop to this, I guess so be it. Well, I just thought you guys wanted to know what happened, because I was wondering whatever happened to those rioters and everything. Well, this is what happened. They're still facing charges, and the judge ain't letting them slide. You guys have a nice night.